Hello and welcome to my free LinkedIn training course, where I'm going to give away the secrets to unlocking LinkedIn and creating a flood of new opportunities to your business. My name is Phil Herridge and I'm the founder of Semper Paratus Group. I have more than 30 years sales experience, ranging from selling vacuum cleaners door to door in the early 90s, telesales, recruitment, and over the last 15 years, I've been working in the tech and telecom space, during which time I've personally used LinkedIn to leverage multi-million-pound opportunities from billion-pound companies. Now, like every salesperson and business owner on the planet, I've always known there was a better way of doing things, but I just couldn't work out what it was. So over the Christmas of 2018, I sat down and deconstructed the traditional sales process and rebuilt it using automation to complete the tasks that didn't require human interaction in order to make myself a more effective salesperson. I've basically created the utopia that we've all been looking for, a solution that allows you to do less work and win more new business than ever before. This not only fosters job security, but it also creates an important work-life balance we all need so that you can start doing more of the things you enjoy. In creating this to make myself a more effective salesperson, I inadvertently created a multi-award nominated automated sales solution that is now used by B2B companies all over the world. Now, this isn't going to be one of those webinars where I pad out for time asking questions and then do shout outs to people who come back with the answers that I'm looking for. I'm also not going to get to the end just so I can do an upsell of an overpriced masterclass with 38 different types of special offers if you sign up today. What I am going to deliver over the next 20 minutes is an insight into the secrets of using LinkedIn correctly and the things you can start doing straight away that will make a real difference to your business and lifestyle. I'm going to show you how to start leveraging high quality decision maker leads from within LinkedIn, irrelevant of what you do or where you are. Now, I know there are lots of people out there at the moment banging their drum about having the best solution ever, so congratulations on realizing that this is the real deal. Some of the better ones out there are actually pretty good as they've tried to copy mine, but they are merely carbon copies jumping on a bandwagon and do not have the experience to underpin what they are telling you. Plus, they're charging you for it. And today, I'm going to give it away for free. In return for condensing what most people would drag out for 90 minutes and then spin into a masterclass, all that I ask is you stay engaged and stick with me until the end. If you have any questions, drop them in the question box at the bottom of the screen, and if I don't cover them during the webinar, I will address them at the end. So let's jump straight in. Is LinkedIn worth it? This is the question that I get asked most, usually from people who have tried LinkedIn for a bit and then given up because they couldn't get it to work for them. Sales Navigator is a LinkedIn application specifically designed for salespeople, and 100% of my clients use this as it's the only way within LinkedIn to create a granular, targeted list that leverages high-quality decision-maker leads from within your specific target audience. However, using Sales Navigator without the correct training is like driving a car without lessons. The machine is there to make your lives better, but it's going to be a terrible experience if you start using it without first being shown how. During the global coronavirus pandemic, LinkedIn users increased from 675 million to 690 million users worldwide. So for those of you that question whether LinkedIn is worth it for your business, the answer is most definitely yes, but only if you're using it correctly. To put the 690 million global LinkedIn users into perspective, think about your average deal size. And let's assume that you only operate in the UK where there are 28 million LinkedIn users. Let's also assume that none of you believe me because I'm a salesman and therefore I must be over-exaggerating. So you halve my claims and then for good measure, you halve them again. That's still 17,500 new clients sat there waiting for you to contact them. Now multiply that by your average order size. What does that look like for your sales figures? As a guide, let's assume that each one of those deals is only worth £100 to you and that they only purchase once. That's £1.75 million in potential new sales just sat there waiting for you to reach out. So now that we've established that LinkedIn is most definitely worth it, let's take a look at how you can start doing things straight away to make a real difference. The most important part of any marketing campaign is the data. You can have the best worded campaign on the planet, but if you're sending it to the wrong people, it's not just a complete waste of time, but it will be detrimental to how LinkedIn score your account. And if you have too many DNKs, that's people marking you as a do not know, LinkedIn will put an indefinite restriction on your account. To minimize the impact of this happening and ensure that you're using LinkedIn effectively, I have devised the following approach. My entire sales process uses warm outreach techniques. This means that you will never have to do any cold selling and will only have qualified conversations with people who want to talk to you. This process makes good salespeople more productive and allows non-salespeople to sell without selling by simply creating warm conversations with new friends who want to learn more about how you can help them. Groups is by far my best performing strategy on LinkedIn. Join groups where your target audience are likely to hang out. If you're looking for CEOs, then search for the CEO groups on LinkedIn and request to join them. This makes for a highly targeted campaign. There are thousands of groups out there with hundreds of thousands of people in them. The groups do not need to be localized ones, as the location filter will take care of that during the refined search within Sales Navigator. Use Boolean searches of and, or not within the keywords area to identify people with specific words or phrases in their LinkedIn profile that you are looking for, such as visionaries or founder or managing director and managing partner, etc. If you were looking for property developers and use this wording within keywords, LinkedIn will provide details with any one of either of those words in their profile, therefore giving you a list of software developers and property maintenance. So make sure you use the inverted commas when searching for phrases within keywords. Focus on people that are like you. If the current pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we only want to spend time with the people we like. So why would you want to attract clients you're not going to get on with and make your life unnecessarily harder? By using the filters and Boolean searches, you can better identify individuals similar to yourself and therefore sell to them in a way that you'd be happy being sold to. Also, it is much more enjoyable working with PLUs as they share similar characteristics to you and are therefore much easier to work with. Use the filters within Sales Navigator to correctly identify your target audience. So let me make the last 3 slides a little bit more tangible. Here is an example of one of my target audiences. They are based in the UK, but I could obviously change that to any country or countries, or I could go hyperlocal and look within a specific radius of a postcode. In this example, I'm looking for people that are members of the same group as me. I've filtered by headcount, so I'm looking for companies that have got less than 500 people working in them. I'm looking for all of the senior management teams, so the decision makers within these businesses. And also, I want them to have a experience or a function within sales, so they're going to understand the benefits of my automated sales solution. Well, that's created a list of over 59,000 people who fall in to that target audience. Now, I might want to find people who like playing golf. And that drops it down to 973. But at least it makes it then so it's something we can drop in there. We've both got an interest in golf. Or it might be that we're looking for people that like football. Unsurprisingly, that number's a little bit higher. But we could be looking for people like us, so looking for those PLUs. So we might be looking for people that have founder or visionary in their profile. And that creates a list then of 25,000 people. So by using these Boolean searches and the filters within here, there are other filters in Clack as well, so we can focus on people with the same name as us if we wanted to. But they just allow us then to create a very targeted and granular list of people who are very similar to us or very similar to the clients that we want to engage with. So another way of doing it is to look for people who are similar to your best clients, whether that's best as in most profitable or best as in the ones that you like working with most. So you can kind of take your top 10 clients, use the filters that describe them within here, and that will then allow you to create a very targeted list to send out to other people just like them. As an insight into the message volumes and tonality, I'd advise sending no more than 4 messages plus the invite over a 3 to 6 week period. The tonality of the messages should be the invite. Do not mention sales and keep it informal and mutually beneficial in the true spirit of social networking. The welcome message. Thank them for connecting and provide an icebreaker, ideally something visual and tangible showing them how you can add value. The reminder message. This is to resurface and reinforce the original message. The firm nudge message, noting what they're missing out on and why they should be speaking to you. And finally, the ultimatum message, noting that you're happy to be persistent but don't want to become a pest. Here is a simple but effective invite template that has generated up to 63% acceptance rates for some of my clients. It simply says, as we are members of the same groups on LinkedIn, I thought it wouldn't do any harm to reach out and connect directly, as I'd like to find out more about you and your business and explain how others similar to you are benefiting from working with me. This is yielding the highest acceptance rates I have ever seen within any LinkedIn campaigns, as you are creating a warm outreach where there is at least one commonality, as opposed to cold outreach to people where you have nothing in common. You should also never forget about your first degree connections. The majority of people on LinkedIn are looking for brand new opportunities from people they just connected with, forgetting about the prospects that they already connected to on LinkedIn. Again, use the filters within Sales Navigator to identify the target audience of your existing connections and create a personalized campaign to them. Selling successfully on LinkedIn has a fine and invisible line that keeps moving. This isn't anything to do with algorithms, but simply that you're dealing with the world's most volatile substances, people. Some people want you to get straight to the point, while others want you to hold the hand and take them out for dinner first, and it's impossible to know who wants what from one day to the next. You need to find that happy medium that appeases the masses while also being mindful of reducing your time in contacting them. The purpose of a LinkedIn message is not to sell to somebody. It is simply to open the door and have an exploratory conversation away from LinkedIn. What you can do within each message is have a strong call to action, such as a link to Calendly, which helps make sure that conversation happens. In the same way that keywords are important in your company website, they are also important to help raise your LinkedIn profile. The most common way of subtly inserting keywords your prospects will be using to find your services is by utilizing the white space within your current and previous job descriptions and the About section of your profile. Also, your social selling index is a really easy way of increasing your personal profile and becoming more visible on LinkedIn. You can view your SSI at linkedin.com/sales/SSI. And this also gives you some simple tips on how to improve your score. Any images that you add to LinkedIn should have names on them. Google searches images as well as text, so be sure that any images you use on LinkedIn, such as profile, banner, poster images, have the relevant keywords that you want to be found for. When someone Googles that phrase, there's a good chance that your image will come up in a search. And Google usually indexes these in a few days, but it can take a couple of weeks, so do be patient. I can't stress enough the importance of including keywords within any white space on your LinkedIn page. Make sure that you've got keywords in your headline, your summary, posts, your contact details, the current and previous job descriptions, and make sure they talk about the value you can bring. The skills section in LinkedIn was originally created for recruiters and is highly indexed by Google. Ensure that the top 3 skills on the list are the ones you want to be seen for, because they're the ones that automatically appear without the prospect having to click on see more. In addition to all of this, make sure you ask for endorsements and recommendations from people. And when people send you recommendations, don't be shy of rewriting it for them and again, dropping those relevant keywords into it. This is the starting point for anyone using LinkedIn, because if your account isn't set up correctly, people won't accept your invites, which causes 2 problems. 1, no new leads, which is the entire reason we're doing this. And 2, people marking you as a DNK, a do not know. DNKs are the biggest danger to the longevity of your LinkedIn account. If too many people mark you as a DNK, LinkedIn will put an indefinite restriction on your account, so you need to have the prospect's email address before sending them an invite. However, the messages I have developed address this issue and deliver responses that are more than 4 times higher than the industry average. Here are my 5 top tips for getting your profile right. Number 1, Make sure that the background image is representative of what you do. If you're a superhero, then the Batman background is okay. If not, then use something more relevant. Number 2, make sure your profile picture is a head and shoulder shot of just you and not a crop picture of you at a wedding or playing sports or a night out. Number 3, make sure the About section is correctly promoting your expertise and that of your business and does not sound like a CV or job application and is definitely not written in the third party. Number 4, it is critical that you have a LinkedIn company page set up so that it pulls through your company logo. If not, as you can see in the Batman image there, it just doesn't pull anything, it's just a grey space. And finally, number 5, as I've said before, use as much of your LinkedIn profile as possible to inject keywords relevant to your business to organically ensure that you're found online ahead of your competitors. Sales is and always will be a numbers game. If you send just 30 invites a day to your target audience, that's 10,950 per annum. There is a golden rule in sales that when someone says no, they just mean they haven't yet got enough information to make an informed decision and don't want to be sold to in case you're right and they end up spending money with you. If you are selling door to door and the prospect says no, you don't just leave them stood there and walk away. If you're doing telesales and the prospect says no, you don't just put the phone down and move on to the next one. In both cases, you find out what the objection is, overcome it, and move on through the sales process. This same rule applies to LinkedIn, if not more so. People do not sit there all day waiting to be sold to. I'm a salesperson and I try and avoid sales conversations like the plague. So do not be deterred if you get a not interested or a no thanks. These are pre-populated messages within the LinkedIn application. So if they've not taken the time to write you a message, the chances are they've not taken the time to read yours and therefore don't really know what you're offering. There is a lot of noise on LinkedIn right now, and we need to differentiate ourselves away from everyone else. And some of my advanced strategies do address this. I have a templated message that I copy, paste, and send to anyone that tells me anything other than, "Thanks, Phil, I've scheduled a call for next week." 70% of the time, this allows me to convert a straight no into a sales conversation by simply providing them with some additional information and politely pushing back. So here are some takeaways that you can start using right away with zero additional cost. Utilize the filters within Sales Navigator to identify your target audience. Create concise messages that sell without selling. Follow up effectively without being pushy. Do not be put off by somebody saying no. With 690 million LinkedIn users, there are enough people out there to find the ones that will say yes. Schedule time in your day to send out the invites and reply to messages. It's pointless putting in the time and effort if you're not going to follow up effectively. By simply implementing these simple suggestions, things will organically get better for you when using LinkedIn. So thank you for your time. I have seen some questions coming in. As I said, I've tried to keep it pretty brief to the point. Hopefully you've got something from it. I'll try and get through as many of these questions as I can, but I will come back to anyone separately as well.